People want to find their passion, but you don't find it, you create it. And you create it by getting good at something. And to get good at stuff, you start by doing something you suck at. Then you get good. Then you like it. Then people ask how you found your passion. Answer: by starting when you sucked and not giving up.
Yeah, I hate the passion mantra. I really do. I mean, part of it was because I'll even play it out. So I read all the same self-help books early on when I was, in my entrepreneurial days, and I was trying to find my passion, and I was into fitness. And so I was deciding between fitness, test prep, because I was good at test prep, and frozen yogurt, because I like dessert, right? So I've like, these are my 3 quote passions, which let's just translate that into things you're interested in. And so as soon as I started the gym, my passion disappeared. It became work. And I had a different mentor later in my life who said, never create work around your passion, because then it'll become work. And he was a guy who's a very successful business guy. And I think about that actually more than I'd share, because it's just complete and utter bullshit, because it assumes that what you're going to be doing every day is the thing that you're currently really interested, which also doesn't make you money. And so your behavior has to change. And whenever you're doing these new things, one, they'll be new, which means you will suck at them, which means you'll probably not like them. But it's also part of it. And so like, I would prefer to take the extreme opposite position of everything will suck. And eventually you will get good at the things that you suck at. And then you'll enjoy being competent at that thing, which will then probably give you status, and you'll enjoy the fruits of status more than the pain of doing the thing. And in so doing, create a positive feedback loop that you'll actually keep sticking with it. And so I'd rather set the expectation that everything is terrible all the time forever. Now let's see if we can become the person who can still do it anyways, and start that as the baseline, rather than trying to assume that I need perfect conditions in order to start. Because, I mean, starting is the perfect condition. Like, whatever condition that you're in that you start was the perfect condition.
There is such a thing as intrinsic motivation, though, as well as extrinsic. You can do something, there's a whole myriad of things that you could be potentially good at. And many of them could give you renown and money and social clout and that feedback loop. But there are some that you will enjoy doing for the sake of doing them more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree. Remember a note that I wrote to myself when I first started the podcast and when I decided to turn pro with it,
Mm-hmm.
which is, one way to turn something you love into a labor is to monetize it.
Okay.
Because as soon as you decide that you're going to really, really go for this, if you want to turn pro at something, I use this example in my live show of a pickleball player.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy loves playing pickleball, and he gets to turn up on a Saturday and play with his friends.
Yeah.
And, if it's cold outside, he doesn't need to go and play. And if he's tired, he doesn't need to go and play. And if he's hungover, he doesn't need to go and play. And then he decides to turn pro. And he thinks, I'm turning pro at this thing that I love. I can't wait to make what I love into my career. But he doesn't realize that, hey, guess what? If you're hungover, you still need to go and train.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, you don't get to be hungover anymore, because the guy that isn't hungover is the guy that's training better. So you now need to stop going out with your friends, and you need to train when it's cold, and you need to work on game tape and mindset and hydration and nutrition. You need to do S&C, and you need to have a physio, and you need to not see your family as much. All of these things came along for the ride as soon as you decided to turn pro. Is that a price that you're prepared to pay? And that's an interesting question to ask yourself. Yeah. Am I prepared to sacrifice my pure, unencumbered, unmolested love for this thing in order to try and become the best at this thing?